A new era has begun for FC Barcelona. Welcome to the new Camp Nou. Hello, this is Filling the Sink, a podcast from Catalan News. I'm Lorcan Doherty, and today we're talking about Barcelona, the football club that is, not the city. I'm joined today by Cillian and Oriol Escudé. Good to see you both.
Hello. Lorcan, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm kind of wearing the Barça colours today, but I'm not. It's not that I don't dislike Barça, but I'm not a fan either. But Oriol, you're a fully signed up member.
I am, and I'm wearing Barça colours.
Nice.
Well. I am a fan, but I'll try to be on my journalist mode, not my fan mode.
Well, Saucy number what?
Saucy number 136,654, I think.
Molve.
And Cillian, you're in white, which isn't a popular colour.
It's not a Real Madrid t-shirt. It's not. I'm not a Real Madrid fan either. No.
Well, coming up on the podcast today, we're going to be chatting about the return to the Camp Nou. Officially, of course, the Spotify Camp Nou. We don't want anyone to sue us. We'll hear from some excited fans. Some excited local businesses as well. And we're asking a very important question. Could this stadium be the start of a bright, shiny new era for the club, which, as we know, over the past 10 years has been mired in financial turmoil, really, for the past decade. Lots to get through today. We're going to start with the events of November 7th, when after months of delays, we finally got a glimpse of the Barça players on the hallowed turf. Cillian, you were there. In fact, you were both there. Cillian for working, for business, and Oriol for pleasure.
I took the day off, yeah.
How was it?
It was good. Yeah. It was nice. It was like the anticipation had just been building for such a long time. So it was really cool to kind of get in there finally and see.
It was a training session.
Exactly. It was an open training session. No, exactly. Yeah. 23,000 fans. Among them, Oriol Escudé here.
Friday morning.
Yeah. No, it was nice. It was great to just kind of get back there and kind of like get that football feel around the Les Corts area at the moment as well. It was, however, though, I was a little bit, I don't want to say disappointed, but maybe I expected it to be like a little bit more glitzy, a little bit more glamorous. Like it's literally still a construction site, and that is noticeable. You can see that in parts, like the finish of some of the walls, maybe some loose wiring. But hey, it's a long project, and they're still in the middle of it, so fair play to them.
Then a couple of weeks after that, we had the first match, pretty comprehensive 4-0 victory against Athletic Bilbao. So how was that, Oriol?
I loved it. I went for work on that one as well, but it felt like I was a fan. It was a very emotional day. I remember my grandfather was there as well. He hasn't missed a game. He's 87. Wow. And him, like many Barça seniors, when they announced the works that they were going to the Olympic Stadium, they thought maybe they would never come back and never see Camp Nou again.
Right.
So I remember speaking to him after the game, and he admitted that he cried a few times during the game. He was very emotional. So I think it was an unofficial return, because the official return will be when the whole new stadium is built. Mm-hmm. So we weren't impressed. I as well thought I'd be very impressed with the new stadium. I wasn't. And the atmosphere was really good and everything was great, but I think it's still way to go until we return.
Yeah, because the capacity at this game was about 45,000 we're at the minute.
Exactly.
And you mentioned atmosphere. It's been one of the talking points, hasn't it, Cillian?
Yeah, you mentioned that it was really good that day. Maybe it was like on an emotional sense, but I've heard that especially the first game and then the second game that I was at against Deportivo Alavés, for me, I think the atmosphere kind of lacked a little bit. A lot of fans there kind of expecting other people to make the noise, to sing the songs. Like at the game that I was at, Alavés, for example, there were plenty of moments during the game where from up in the stands in the press zone, you could hear the players talking to each other on the pitch. And in a stadium of 45,000 people, that's not a very common occurrence. That said, things got a lot noisier, a lot better, a lot more atmospheric for the next two games that I was at as well, the Atletico Madrid and the Eintracht Frankfurt games. Maybe it's because they were nighttime games under the lights. Maybe it was because they're more difficult opponents as well. There's a lot more rancor amongst those rivalries, and especially the Eintracht Frankfurt one, which has really grown into a grudge match in the past few years.
What about the fact that there's no dedicated singing section anymore. That's one of the issues maybe around the atmosphere, isn't it? What's going on with that?
So the Grada de Animació, the singing section, they got rid of it in November 24 because of several fines that they had to pay. Fines from UEFA, from La Liga, from the Catalan government. And the club basically decided not to let them in again, even though some players like Rafinha offered to pay for the fines. So now there's no singing section. The club is renovating it as well, 100% like the stadium. So it's making a whole new singing section. It's even hiring an external company to do the selection process. And we'll see that probably very soon when the next phase of the renovation is completed.
They're trying to get a different type of person in? Or, younger, more woman, that kind of thing? No,
exactly. And have control over them. So now it was done by fans, and now it will be the club the one that will have the control over the singing section. But it's definitely something that it's missing a lot. Us Barça fans are quiet, I'd say.
You hear in every single game a chant, Volem la grada d'animació. We want the singing section back.
Right. Mm-hmm. Another big talking point has been the price of tickets, especially for that first game.
Yeah, exactly. That big return, that Athletic Club game, €199 was the cheapest ticket. And of course, members, socios, get a 20% discount. But I mean, €200 for one game. And that's the cheapest. They only go up from there. Yeah. It has come down since then. But, also Alavés, it's a lesser opponent, shall we say, with all due respect to Deportivo Alavés. €100, though, for one ticket for one match, I think it's a lot.
Yeah, the club said that, we need to make money, didn't they? They were kind of quite open about it, no?
And it's important to remember that the stadium, as it is right now, it has even smaller capacity than in the Olympic Stadium.
Right.
By 2,000 or 3,000 people, right? Mm-hmm. But it's still smaller than that. So it's very understandable that the prices for that game were very, very expensive.
Barça fans, culers, they've been positively buzzing about the team's return to the Camp Nou, as you can imagine. Catalan News has been catching up with several of them over the last month or so at the various games and at the open training session. Let's take a listen.
The chance to watch at the Camp Nou for the first time in 900 days, so so excited. It's going to be great. Yeah, it's massive. I mean, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity.
It looks amazing with all the people who've come today and the atmosphere that everyone will make inside. It's going to be impressive.
The best stadium in Europe, that's what we're expecting.
I'm very excited to come back home after so long. I'm very happy.
Really nervous. I woke up this morning and I was really nervous. I've never been to the Camp Nou before. I've been outside it, but never inside.
The first day you can go back to the Camp Nou, you absolutely have to.
I've been coming to see Barça for nearly 60 years. We've had to wait for more than 2 years, but it will be worth it.
It's incredible. This is going to be the best thing that's ever happened to us. We've had to wait, but it's going to turn out really cool.
Playing
in Montjuic isn't the same as playing in Camp Nou. When other teams come here, it'll be another story. That's what I'm hoping for, to experience the emotion of the Camp Nou.
I've been coming to Montjuic since last year. Recently was my first time at the new Camp Nou because I didn't come to the open training session. And honestly, it makes me really excited. Also, we come from Isona, a town in Pallars, and we drive 2 hours here and 2 hours back to see the team.
Oh, it's a very special emotion. Even if it's still half under construction, we're coming back home. It's not the same as going to Montjuic, and this is what we culés want.
It's really cool. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm here with my son Pau, and, he's shy and he doesn't want to say it, but he's very excited.
We are visiting Barcelona for this match. My daughter is a huge Barcelona fan, so this was a gift for her.
In the atmosphere at the games, we're still missing a bit of that Barca spirit, but I'm confident that little by little, and with the leadership of President Laporta, we'll be able to get it back, although things will have to be done well. Obviously, we'd like for there to be a dedicated singing section, but it has to be a good singing section, and sometimes things have to be done differently, although obviously I would love to see the singing section brought back. Barça fans from Catalonia, Denmark, Australia and Ecuador there. Prior to these renovation works then, the Camp Nou was already the biggest stadium in Europe, by a bit of a distance, one of the biggest in the world, a capacity just shy of 100,000. So the question is, why the revamp?
It kind of needed it, really. The Camp Nou, as we knew it had fallen into a state of disrepair, to be honest. I mean, the board commissioned a report to kind of really go through the details of the state of the building, and it found that there was excessive amounts of pigeon nests, even pigeon excrement that was leaving foul smells around the place. So it really needed that facelift.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a nice atmosphere to be doing anything, let alone watching football.
No, exactly. But I think equally important, maybe even more important, was maximising profits. If you're redesigning a stadium, you can redesign it any way that you want. So you can have huge amounts of more VIP boxes, VIP seats, and that's central to the whole design plans now, to have far more seats available at much more premium prices, offering a more premium experience.
At the same time, Oriol, the stadium, the revamp, it's not a complete rebuild. They're kind of keeping the essence of the Camp Nou, no?
It's a bit of both. It's a rebuild of the third tier and a revamp of the other two, you could say. So they're demolishing the whole third tier and building a new one. So it's a way of doing it that it's not very uncommon in the football world. They could have demolished it all and built it again, or they could have created a new stadium outside where it's located right now, which was an option on the table as well. But they decided to do both, so continue construction while they'll play at the stadium, which is at the stage that we're in now.
Yeah, because at the minute, so we've got 45,000. Soon, they're going to up that to 62,000.
Exactly.
We're expecting that pretty soon, aren't we? But getting to this point has taken us a while, because I think all over last summer, into the autumn, I remember we were making videos and writing articles in Catalan News saying, right, Camp Nou, it's going to open any day now, or like even official announcements.
It has an official date.
Yeah, official matches.
Numerous official dates.
And then a week later, oh no, delayed again. It's been a little bit of a mess, hasn't it, Cillian?
It has, in fairness, yeah. I mean, I was brought to a press conference in the Auditori there in the grounds of the club back in last November 2024, where they explained to us that they would be reopening the stadium before the end of that calendar year, as in 2024, last year. They explained to us in granular detail about the half-season ticket prices that they'd be offering. And of course, none of that happened. It reopened a full year later. And we've had numerous concrete dates set for the Gamper Trophy game, the summer pre-season game, the start of this season, before eventually that athletic game in November this year.
And why the delays? Have they given any reason for that, Oriol?
Well, yes, they say it's because they lacked workforce. They also complained about the schedules that they're allowed to work. They asked the city council, they tried many times to work on night time, for example, to work on weekends.
Which they have done some of as well.
In some way they have, but they of course wanted to work way more than they ended up being able to. And also they said that they received materials late. There's been delays in receiving some materials. So all of this is what has created the details. Critics argue that maybe it's because of an unrealistic plan.
Speaking of the plan, what happens next?
So now when the two tiers are done, the next phase begins, which is rebuilding again all this third ring that will bring capacity to 105,000 attendees. This will not happen progressively as we've seen now from 27 to 45 to 62,000. This will happen all at once. And this is expected by the end of next year.
One thing that surprised me when I was learning of these plans is the fact that they were playing in Montjuic, they're back in Camp Nou, but they have to go back to Montjuic again.
Exactly, to build the roof. The roof is one of the biggest challenges, but it's also the jewel in the crown, you could say, because right now we just had a roof covering the tribuna, the main stand. Now the roof will cover all the stadium except the pitch, so it will be open in the middle. It's inspired in Atlético de Madrid's stadium. And it's a really challenging part of the renovation. They're hiring an external company specialized on this to do the roof. You have to imagine a bike wheel, all the spikes. So that's going to be all the cables going on top of the roof. And then on top of that, they will build the roof. So it's a very complicated part. It's supposedly going to take 4 months, but seeing how things have gone, it might take longer. And that's
We're no longer going to be shocked if there's delays.
Exactly. And that's going to be the second hiatus in Montjuic.
Right.
So in summer 2027, with the season break, they will go to Montjuic. That's 2 months. And then again, 2 more months from competition. So September, October. So in theory, November, December 2027, the roof will be finished. But again, we'll see.
And when that roof's finished, it kind of changes the image of it. I can imagine you can picture the Camp Nou. It's a very open stadium and stuff, so that's going to change the atmosphere. But I'm sure the people that got soaked watching the matches they're probably happy about that. As well as the roof, Cillian, one of the other kind of highlights maybe of this renovation work is this VIP ring. So all around the stadium, there's going to be a new VIP area, boxes and seats.
Exactly, yeah. It's just going to be a very narrow strip in between the second and the third tiers of the stadium, which is going to have lots of hospitality boxes, hospitality seats, bars, restaurants there. The prawn sandwich brigade, as you mentioned earlier on.
The prawn sandwich brigade as well, to quote Roy Keane.
Yeah. In total, this is going to be able to host 9,000 people at every game between all of these. So that's a huge amount. Like, that is something that wasn't in existence in the stadium before, and now 9,000 people are going to be able to pay hundreds, if not thousands of euro per match for every time that they want to enjoy a premium experience in one of these. And actually, the VIP boxes made headlines about a year ago, last January. The club kind of had to quite hastily sell around 100 million euro worth of these boxes, to a stadium that wasn't even open yet at the time, may I remind you. Because cast your minds back to the Dani Olmo affair, the Dani Olmo saga, not forgetting Pau Victor, with all respect to him. With this registration issue that the club had, they needed to sell 475 VIP seats, just over 5% of the total, to 2 investors from the Middle East. Now, their identities hasn't ever really been revealed, but the club say that they're going to pay around 100 million euro to have the exclusive rights of these seats for 30 years.
Apart from this a bit shady transfer, if you go onto the website of the club, you can already buy these boxes, and many companies are doing so. I think there's something that will be aimed basically at companies, big corporations, having seats there to invite whoever they want. And it's funny because most of them you can access and register and buy them. Most of them are sold out already.
As well as the stadium redevelopment, the whole area around it as well is all getting done up as well, isn't it? This is Espai Barça, the Barça space.
The Barça space, it's something we've heard for the last 10 years because this was already designed and voted by the socios, the club members, in 2014. Now the space is a huge transformation of the surroundings of the stadium. It includes green areas. It's going to make it much easier to walk around the stadium. Right now, it's not very easy. It's all very narrow and thin, and you don't know exactly where you're at. You'll be able to physically touch the stadium, which is something I love when you do tourism around the world and you visit a stadium. I always enjoy a lot if I can actually touch it. And yeah, there's going to be a new museum, a new mega store, and then they will demolish the Palau Blaugrana, which is the main kind of thing that's in there in the middle, and it's huge and it doesn't allow for this big renovation. So that will be demolished and rebuilt somewhere else.
Yeah, in fact, that's something that is really interesting. The original plan came from Josep Maria Bartomeu, the previous Barça president, maybe infamous president now, some fans might say. But the original budget for the whole thing, the stadium, the Espai Barça, everything, 600 million euros. That was voted, approved on by the socios, by the club members back in 2014. Obviously, things change. Inflation, costs balloon. Laporta comes in, he designs a new plan, again approved by the socios. The budget goes up to 1.5 billion euros, nearly triples. So yeah, things have changed massively since the ball initially started to get rolling.
And all this work is being undertaken by a company, Limac, which the choice was a little bit controversial as well.
Well, the choice of Limac, this Turkish company, got everyone off guard. There were 2-3 Spanish big companies that have built other stadiums, competing for Camp Nous, and also a French company. And everyone assumed that it would be one of these Spanish companies because they have experience with the Espanyol Stadium, the Athletic Club, the Real Madrid renovation. And instead they chose this Turkish company after a tender. Now that's something that surprised us a little bit.
It did. In fact, about a year ago, also a local radio station here, Cadena Ser, leaked that Limac, the company, actually got the lowest rating from the club's technical staff when they were sort of adjudicating which company would get the project. The report stated that Limac failed to justify its faster construction timeline, which we can see now with all the delays that
Absolutely.
Maybe there was some truth in that. It sort of defined its responses as undefined, vague, insufficient, and as well, Limac needed 200 million euro to just begin construction, whereas the other companies only asked for 12 million upfront.
And also very interesting is that Limac accepted conditions that the other construction companies didn't. For example, it has a cap, it has a spending limit, so the cost of the whole construction cannot go over a certain limit. And also, it was the cheaper. That's what probably this is all about.
That was probably the main reason why I would say.
Local business owners near the Camp Nou have been looking forward to the team's return almost as much as the fans themselves. Local residents, maybe not so much. Let's take a listen now to Ana Ramon from the Camp Nou Neighbours Association, Josep Ferrer, a shop owner, and first, Antonio Gomez, a bar-restaurant owner.
These 2 years have been very long. We've been getting by the best we could, more or less holding up. But now that we've made it this far, things are going to change. I've been working here for 27 years, but today feels like the first game. I have day-to-day clients, mainly neighbors and public workers. Then I have a separate group of clients, the football ones. They are always the same people. I have clients I've known for 27 years, and I only know them through football. Today they'll come to say hello, happy to come back. It's a reunion with the football people. On a matchday, our revenue can triple, and I'm not one of the bars closest to the stadium. The ones nearer are busier than we are, but I'm very happy. We have plastic glasses for takeaway. The local police stopped by to warn us about this. No motorbikes on the pavement, and that they will set up 2 rubbish bins outside, as well as takeaway cups.
The shop was open, but there were no games, and without games we sell nothing. We've gone 909 days with no matches, and today, finally, hope has returned. It doesn't matter if it's just 45,000 people, however many, they're welcome. The important thing was to open and start again slowly. We'll see if by the end of the year we can reach 62,000, and by next September, 105,000. But the key thing is to open. We needed it, like water, like oxygen. The shops opposite us and next to us have closed, and another one nearby I don't think will reopen. I mean, it has been very, very hard for us. For many businesses here, this is not a commercial neighborhood, and we basically live off Barça. It has been that way for so long, but finally it's here. Victory is here.
To return to Camp Nou is a bit scary for us neighbours, but we have to start again and trust that the problem we had in the past won't happen again. We can see that the city council is working hard to improve traffic flow, that the neighborhood is more calm, they're installing cameras, and we hope that people will cooperate so we don't have problems like we had 2 years ago. In this area, there will be over 3,000 cars and 2,000 motorbikes during games. How can a neighborhood absorb all this traffic when all the streets are the same as when there's no game? If it were up to me, the stadium would be outside the city, honestly. I feel bad for all the bars and restaurants. In fact, my husband was a waiter and worked nearby, but it's also true that we have other problems. Glass bottles, fireworks, flares. This is very serious and worrying. Now, the city council has gone around to all the bars and shops telling them not to sell drinks in glass cups or bottles. We'll see whether they comply or not, because they'll lose out too.
Cillian, we said at the top of the podcast, is this going to be a bright, shiny new era for Barça?
That's a good question. I don't think it's exaggerating too much to say that the Camp Nou project, the new stadium, could even be the saving of the club. I mean, we have to remember the dire financial situation that FC Barcelona has been in over the past 6, 7, 8 years. I mean, in world football, Barca has become known as decadent overspenders. We think back to the 2017 Neymar transfer to PSG. I mean, that destroyed the club mentally. They responded to that by just overspending and overspending and overspending. We think of players like Coutinho, Dembele, Griezmann. He came in for huge money and didn't have a huge impact on the pitch. It was completely unsustainable. And on top of that, the pandemic came, completely removing any possibility of generating matchday revenue as well. That was a kind of a perfect storm for a club that was already there or thereabouts financially. The pandemic come, that tipped them over the edge. The Camp Nou renovation is the one thing that's going to be really saving them. Of course, there was all these palancas that were pulled, these levers, palancas, which has even entered the English language football lexicon, basically selling off of non-sporting club assets, percentages of Barca studios, for example, percentages of future TV income. All of this was done with the aim of keeping the club afloat, but it was the Camp Nou project that really was necessary to kind of get them over the line.
And what kind of figures are we talking about then?
So I don't think it will see the profits of the renovation until it's actually finished, right? But by 2027, when it is, the club says it will make around 400 million euro a year just with the stadium. It's counting that it's going to make 120 million a year just with the VIP seats.
Wow.
So yeah, big
Every
figures
year.
every year. Mm-hmm. There's consulting firms and other research that have been done, and they put the figure slightly lower
than Laporta's estimations,
exactly.
which,
so
fair enough.
Those are probably a bit inflated, but yeah, it will be something around 350 million. Mm-hmm. That's what they say.
Also key, because every penny counts. They're renting the Montjuic. They were renting Montjuic for a long time. They've already spent 25 million on that. That again is a cost that no longer applies once they've moved back to their home stadium.
Even if they're not packing in 105,000 people every week, it's still they're still saving money and making money already.
Absolutely.
And of course, it has implications as well for financial fair play rules, which now are much stricter than, say, a decade ago.
Of course, yeah. That's another topic that comes up in the media all the time here, like being in this 1-to-1 ratio rule. Put very simply, it's the amount of money that a club can spend on signings and on wages relative to what they earn. If they're spending a lot less in construction costs, renting a stadium to play in, if they're generating a lot more money by this new Camp Nou and all of the concessions that can come with that, then they'll be able to reinvest a lot more money on the pitch. So what does it all mean? Once everything is finished and they're making a lot more money, they'll be able to invest a lot more money on even better players and have an even better team.
Looking ahead, there is a presidential election for the club due very soon as well.
Yep. Next year. It's going to be very controversial, I think, because the campaign has already unofficially started. And I feel like the whole Laporta's mandate has been a campaign. We'll see whether when Laporta came, he got the club in a very critical situation. Financially, he had to relaunch the Camp Nou project, which he did. And now he's starting to garner the fruits of all that. So I think the elections come at a very good moment for Laporta, and things on the pitch are going okay as well.
I think so too. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like there was a huge risk that we have to remember. Like any maybe conventional thinker might say, okay, this club is spending far too much money, reduce spending. Joan Laporta doesn't work in conventional ways. He's found magic formulas to pull levers to not lose competitiveness on the pitch. I mean, that has been, I think, crucial. Unless we see a very dramatic collapse between now and the new year, I don't see any way that the members will vote in a different president.
Yeah, I mean, Barca on the pitch, they're league champions, they're cup champions. They'd had good runs in the Champions League and stuff, So maybe not as dominant as they were, I don't know, in the early 2010s, but which team is, Well, we're looking at the minute for the stadium to be completed then end of 2027, and then it can welcome all these big games. The World Cup, of course, is coming to Spain, Portugal, Morocco in 2030. Camp Nou, I'm sure, will be hosting some big games at that. And there's not many, there's no stadiums in Europe as big as that, so we can expect it to host the Champions League as well. They're talking about 2029, perhaps. So that's all.
If it's ready in time.
If it's ready in time. And that's us for today. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. That's us for 2025, actually. Thank you, Oriol and Cillian, for joining me today.
Thank you, Lorcan.
If you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to Filling the Sink wherever you get your podcasts. We'll see you again in 2026. Until then, from me, Lorcan Doherty, and all of us at Catalan News, happy Christmas. Have a good one. Adeu.